Good. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my show. It's a webinar it's conducted by the Asia Pacific Universities. My name is Ibrahim. You guys will be together with me in this 1 hour. I'll be sharing some informations about film theory and how I produced my films previously, my short films for my a few festivals. Okay, without wasting more times, I'm just introduce myself. My career path started at my age of 19, somewhere in 1995 as a junior animator. And between that, I'm working as a junior animator in betweeners until as a animator. And since somewhere in 2003, 2009, I'm start to take more responsible as an animation supervisors. And I think more challenging in my careers to setting up my own company on somewhere 2010 up to 2019 as an owner of a company. And also I'm as animation directors. And that's on somewhere in 2010 itself, I'm start to lecturing as a part-time lecturer. I'm still not forgotten that I'm still produce as an animator because I love to animate it. And somewhere in 2022, I pursue my master in cultural and creative industry. Um, and this is how when I produced my first animated short films, and somewhere in 2022, and between 2023 and 2024, I'm producing more ideas and becoming an online animation trainer, and I start to be a full-time um, lecturer in Asia Pacific University, Bukit Jalil here in Malaysia, as a lecturer of animations, drawings, and for final projects for short films. Okay, um, our topic today, it's the behind the scenes of how I produce those films. Okay, but what is purpose of making of films? First thing first, if you guys have any questions, if you guys have any inquiry, you can type on the comments there at the end of these sessions later on, somewhere in between 3:30 there, before the 3:30. I will try to answer some of your questions that related to our topic, but it depends on how many questions that, how many time that we have. Okay, so you can start to think about any question if you have to ask me any questions on later on. But I no need to be answered now, later on, right? So again, what is the purpose of making of films? Is it you will produce it for entertainment? Is it for education? Is it for film festivals? Also, is it like you did it for experimental films, or is it you do for commercial for your clients? So there is a few methods of doing that, a purpose of doing that. And as for today, as I said, I will share little secrets of how my first short films, The Pillar of Strength, has won almost 28 awards in various international film festivals since 2021 until last year. Okay, so most of it I will share about these films, how I produce it, and the tricks or the tips that I put into these films. And first thing first, before I start, I need to see the subjects area that when I want to produce these films, and when I study most films that produce for film festivals, because I decide to go for film festivals, then I can see these four areas that most of the award-winning film festivals have been shared into their story. First things, love. Second is conflict. Number three is hope. And then uh, last but not least is the cultural heritage, because of I'm pursue my study on cultural and creative industry, so I believe cultural elements giving a lot of importance, informations to worldwide audience to see what our films for. Okay, and beside that, I'm pushing elements of visuals and performing art, emotional development, which that's why I push on more to love and conflict between the characters. So because I love to play with emotional characters, happy, sad, anger, things like that. And the last one is culture and tradition. Okay, so you can see, if you watch my films, because it's already been 3 years, almost like 4 years, so I've been officially published in YouTube for these full films, which is 7 minutes and 30 seconds. So you can I'm not been played here because we don't have much time, only for 1 hour. So you can, after these presentations, after these sharing sessions, you can go back to YouTube, look for these films, and you watch it for the entire film for 7 minutes and 30 seconds. You can see how I share my films here. Okay, so one starting point that when I study these films, it's I look for their environment cosmology, the local wisdoms, that from their culture. Then I bring it into my films, which is this film is I'm tributes to the people in Borneo Islands, the Dayak people, the Iban people. So I go and study their life, their culture, their belief, and most everything. And I make friends with some Dayak and Iban peoples to ask a lot of questions. And yes, you can see that this is how I'm sharing some kind of their photo of their interior house, and also include their costumes, their traditions of what they believe of, all right, their textiles and everything, um, and the elements of warrior, elements of history. You need to learn a lot when you produce your films, because you need to make sure that your films have some kind of strong contents and something that to be shared to the audience, to the community. That's what I believe. And you can see that I'm studies of the blowpipes, which is what we call sumpit. And then I'm studying about their ceramic jaw, which how they believe that their ancestors it's live inside that. And then some other elements, the props. This is all a sample of how I compile every props and others to bring into my films. And you can see that's very unique. Their grave, so they use the jar, the ceramic jar, to be uh, their their grave. Okay, so that's quite unique for which is my culture. I'm not Dayak people, so I'm more to Javanese people from Johor. So it's like I'm Muslim, so this is not very very unique, very new for me to see and to learn other people's tradition. And after compiling all these things, I'm start to apply all those into a cinema screen. Okay, and when you decide to go for cinema, so for films, so what you have to understand, it's a film theory. All right, so you cannot just shooting of films and making of films, animations or live films without understand of film theory. But so far I'm learning by myself, studying some with some books, some workshops, some people that I do understand that they have this kind of knowledge, so I keep asking them about film theory. And what's come back to me, it's there is a few theory that I apply into my films. But before that, what is the film theory? Okay, the film theory is, for my understanding, is a study of the nature, study of purpose and impact of films by we analyze their visuals, their narrative, and their aesthetic elements. Okay, and it is explore how films communicate with meaning, how they communicate with the audience with meaning. It's not just a films with empty, all right, and it's influence the audience, and it reflects or shapes the culture of any societies. So this is the basic of film theory things. And if you can see, it's not just an image, it's not just an moving image things. It is a visual of language that speaks to the audience through compositings, through camera works, through color, through symbolisms, through signs and any designs. You can see in these samples visuals, you can see on the top right, it's from my films. I'm study tattoo that's on the body of a characters that give meanings of their community, of their culture. Okay, and the second one's it's a signs of Simba from Lion King on the tree. And the third one's below on the right, it's from Toy Story, how they play with camera works. They put the cameras down, up shots to give a dominant situations for those characters. And the number four, the last one, the green screen, which is not the green screen, the green background is the Scar, Uncle Scar characters from Lion King. I will give a lot of comparison in Lion King because of this is my favorite films for all time. Lion King 1994, 2D animation cartoons, films that I only study these films. I don't study much films. I only study this film. Beside these films, I study Iron Giants, I study Toy Story, and some other films, but not all, but mostly related to my career, which is animation. So I study animation films. So this film stories help us to understand how all these elements works together to create meanings, to create emotions, and to create impact. Okay, why it's so important? Why is so this theory film is so matters? Every details like camera works, lightings, colors, set designs, the character placement. it shapes on how we perceive a story, the audience perceive the story. Okay, by understanding this film theory, we gain insight into how films connect to the audience in on the deeper level. So it depends on what kind of stage you go for your films. There is films who really go to very high experimental deep meaning, which is I'm not that kind of level yet. So I believe I'm somewhere in the middle to produce a films. You can see or references pictures here on the right, which showing Mufasa's dad and Simba's very sad situation, while Uncle Scar have a dominance, start to dominance the situations with the background showing the crack branch of the tree, showing the crash or the crack sad emotion for Simba's and family. At the same time, you see on my screenshot of my films, short films down there, when I introduce the characters for a son and a father, this is the first time that I introduce on the films. I'm showing from the back view of them. Means it's not a good sign when you show a character from the bad view, from the back view, because of there is something bad happens to the characters, either the father or the son. So I mean they are giving a hint that they have a conflicts between them. At the same time, some other elements that split between these two characters, which I will share it later on. Okay, and the overview of this key film theory. I take three key film theory then, and this is how I study so far. I'm explore three fundamental of this film theory that bring depth into the storytelling. This is very important for students who producing a short films. Okay, any universities, any animation student, you have to take care concerns about these things. One, the mise-en-scène. We call it as a mise-en-scène. How everything's in films, how everything's in the frames contributes to the storytelling. Okay, it's a bit tricky later on. Combined with number two, Gestalt theory, which is how audience perspective, how audience perceive and interpret the visual elements. Okay, this is on from the points audience point of view. Okay, and number three is the semiotics theory, which is how you use symbols and signs to convey the meanings in films. That's why I love to produce this the Borneo short film which is I'm producing, because of they deal with a lot of signs, they deal with a lot of symbols, they deal a lot of ancient words, things like that. And then their dialogues, their language is very unique. Okay, so I'm trying to study all these three elements of theory and I put into my films. And let's go for more details on each of it, which is on the mise-en-scène, how visual compositions and atmosphere um, deal with your films. First, the set designs and props. Okay, when you produce a films, when you create an ideas, you cannot simply design the props and characters just because you love it, just because of the design looks great, looks cool, looks chill, but you need to have a reasons why you design it that. Okay, because but it's again, it's that's why the question is what purpose you do of films. Is it for entertainment? Is it for kids? Is it for educations? Because in film festival, the juries will look into this kind of elements, because it's it's a creative mind. It's a for first festival things. So this is how I get the input when I join a film festival, and I keep asking the juries, a panel, why I choose my films, why my film is lost, why my film is becoming not second prize or the third prize or the winners, because they will share some informations there. So some of it is here, right? So beside the set design props, lightings and colors, okay? How you set it, the moods, how you set the guides for emotions when the characters on controlling the situations, the scenes, the sequence. So what kind of environment that you have to use? Is it the characters is antagonist or protagonist? Is it the characters are dominance or defending themselves? So you have to understand about that, and then dealing with the lightings and dealing with the colors of the environments of everything, the surrounding of it. And number three is framing and compositions, and you can see between like the first image on top there from Tarzan's Disney's 1999. That's when Tarzan's fight with the leopard character, if I'm not mistaken, and the behind that is Kerchak, his gorilla's fathers, all right? And at these times, Kerchaks have been defeated by those that elephants, not elephant, he's a leopards. And that times when Tarzan came in and tried to fight back and defend Kerchak, you can see Tarzan's position is higher than Kerchak's position, and showing that Tarzans have more dominance in these situations. Okay, and same as the columns number 2, when I deal with very friendly Hayao Miyazaki type of greens backgrounds, when these little kids try to take the throne from the father start to give the bigger responsible to the kids, say, you are ready to take the families and the community of the what your powerful have now. So then I play with a very friendly color, and I put down a little bit of the cameras and up shots to show that these kids are on the higher level to compare to the father at that time. And also the last positions there, the color of spiritual elements like purples, turquoise. I'm dealing with that characters on the bottom's last one. I will explain that later on. And but for the number 4 of this mise en scène, the character positions as here just now, right? The character position means how determines power, dynamics, relationships, and emotion of characters play a lot of importance elements to your shots. Okay, Gestalt theory. This one, if I want to we want to explore everything in this 1 hour. I don't think so. We have time on that. I have to pass, just at least give you a surface of that. Gestalt theory refers to how audience perceive and interpret the visual element, rather than separate part. For example, I list down 6 elements of this. Proximity, elements are close together, are perceived as related. Okay, I will show the samples later on. Similarity, similar shapes, similar color, similar patterns are groups as together in perceptions. Continuity, the eyes follow the lines. How you tackle the audience eyes to follow the lines, follow the structure of the films, the curve, okay, or the sequence to perceive a unified design. Closure, the mind fill in the gaps, okay, to create a complete image. Sometimes when you watch a films, there's something's missing at the beginning. They purposely create that to give you an answer at the end of it. Okay, figure grounds, the contrast between the subjects, like figures and the background. I show you just now the picture, right? How you put your figures, how you put your characters on top, the backgrounds at the back there, something wrong with it. Blur backgrounds, some kind of missing backgrounds, like the photos missing, some kind of a sharp elements of the backgrounds pointing to the characters. It's all elements of that in under Gestalt theory. And common fates, the elements moving at the same directions as seen as in the group. Okay, so this is just a basic surface that I share on the Gestalt theory. And why this Gestalt theory important in the films? First is enhance the visual storytelling itself. Second, direct the audience to attention effectively. So, and then the third one is create a smooth and immersive cinematics experience. So that's why when I watch films, there is a films that very good in terms of visual effects, explosions, design, but they never get any attention to the Grammy Awards, to the film festival thing, because of the film is just some kind of entertainment films. You know, there's a few films that that the hero can fight with all the enemies, like thousands, hundreds of enemies. He just used one big gun and then fired all enemies, and he never died. But the enemies all died. But that film doesn't make sense type of films. Like you are too heroistic, but it's fun to watch. With the heroistic character with the muzzle, everything. But there's nothing much to learn on the film theories there. I don't want to mention any films, but when you study films, you start to know what is a bad films, what is a good films. All right, now a sample of similarity. As I said, I don't want to show too many films. I'm show whatever films that I'm studying, which is The Lion King, 1994. I watched Lion King's latest, the films, the 3D National Geography type of quality, but I love the 2D animations first version of Lion King. So the new generation, young generation, please watch this 1994 Lion King, okay, before you watch all those new technologies type of Lion King. You can see similarity. Uncle Scar, whoever watched Lion King, you know who is Scar, who is Mufasa, who is Simba, who is Nala, and everything. So Uncle Scar and the Highness share the dark color tones. When every time Scar meet their Highness gangs, they play with the blacks, they play with the dark brown, they play with the gray color, not which is not very friendly color. It's make them visually groups as a violence character, villains characters. You know, it doesn't have a friendly tone color there. Okay, when you deal with Scar, and when we look into the Lion's characters, like the groups of good characters, the protagonist character, which is Mufasa, Simba, Nala, they share the golden fur tones on their body. Okay, which contrast with Scar, even though Scar is one of their family members, but Scar totally have a contrast in terms of color, the dark tones, the fur. And in this picture, you can see that on the right ones, bottom there, every time when Mufasa's deal with Scar, you don't turn your back on me, Scar. When Mufasa's do that and try to discuss about their throne, try to discuss about their family matters, Scar is always on the dark side, always on the dark side. And in the cave is not so comfortable to people who live with a family things. He live alone in that um, lion's family, but Mufasa's always in the bright situations, a bluish color. You can see on the middle picture there, Scar with the group of hyenas, the army of hyenas. They play with these sharp elements. They play with this brown, dark elements color. And on the left side, Simba or Mufasa take the throne with a very friendly blue, fresh, and with the cloud, which is represent spiritual, represents a good elements of characters. And on the top left there, when Scar take over the Pride Rocks, suddenly the Pride Rocks becoming a dead situations. It's not very friendly. It's not very good for living creatures there, because Scar is a violent character. Scar and the hyenas is killing peoples there. So you can see that how environments play important elements to the story itself, and that's called similarity in terms of how your characters deal with the backgrounds and the characters dealing with another characters, which is as a groups. Okay, so it's a bad characters group, they're using this kind of colors. It's a good characters group, they're using this kind of color. Then next, symbolic closure. This is another sample. Lion King as well. When Mufasa, the dead Mufasa, came through Simba's life using in the clouds. When Mufasa appear in the sky, his face is formed by the clouds rather than being a fully detailed, because he is a spirit. So you forgotten me means you forgotten who you are, Simba. So that's how Mufasa says to him, means you have to see who you are. You have to see yourself in the mirrors. You see me live in you. I live in you. So he tried to give an advice to 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 who's this guy's name, Simba, to return back to the Pride Rock and take back your throne, take back your crown, take back your family, rather than you live in this Hakuna Matata life with the Pumbaa and Timon, if you watch Lion King. So, and then the audience automatically fills the gaps that recognize Mufasa's face related to Simba itself. And then these techniques make him feel mystical and spiritual, as I said, reinforce the ideas that he lived in Simba's heart. So this is from the Lion King itself. I study it and then I put it into my films. So that's why I never share my films yet. And now I go for semiotics theory. So we go for Gestalt, we go for mise-en-scène. Now semiotics theory is use the signs and symbols. Just now, as Mufasa, I'm using signs, cloud, sky, to show Mufasa's in Lion King. So that's why I'm trying to use that into my film as well. The signs is anything that can convey the meaning. That's the thing. So now, if I put into my film's theory, semiotics theory, I'm using these three symbols here. The number top there is what we call the Turai signs from the Dayak peoples there, and also a patterns, and also a cloth, patterns clothes, a design on clothes giving the meaning. So I have to analyze, I have to study that the signs and the symbol for objects that in the signs. the color that we are using, and then the gesture that can carry deeper meanings into the story itself. And other things are the notations, how I deal with these signs and symbols to the character itself, for the bad characters, for the bad moments, for the good moment, thing like that. So all this you need to study to make your films more valuable, into to bring all those theory into your films. All right, and you can see this semantic theories that I'm using these ancient writings, the Turai, board just now, the Papan Turai just now. If you look carefully, if you watch my films and you look frame by frames, you see there is a words there behind the characters when he have a problems, when he have a his fathers have accidentally fall into a ground, and he need to have some, he need to look for some help. Then he meet this kind of spiritual force that make him scared for the boy, and then he see surrounding him, surrounded by something very unique, signs and symbols, which is I'm using this kind of meaning to convey who is this boy's family and who he is supposed to be. He don't know who he is supposed to be. So, and you see some of this, the right pictures on top there. I'm dealing with this father's believable. So he believed on his God, come from this kind of rhinoceros hornbills, um, for this history. So he always get close to this rhinoceros hornbill patterns or design, because he believed that his gods for his prey for. Well, that's how I deal with this semantic story. That I put symbols and signs into my story itself. You can see this, the religious belief that this is their god. Okay, for the cultural and context meaning. So that's why I'm trying to study the useful of this one, and I put it into the story, and this is some kind of a throne, to show the power and the leadership for these fathers of this boy. Okay, um, and it consists of one signifier, the actual objects, image or gesture seen on screen, or we signified it by the deeper meaning or ideas behind it. It cannot be just you put it some things there without trying to tell why you put it there, for what you put it there. So maybe yes, the audience don't understand why you design it, why you have to put it there, why the characters come from the left screens, why the characters come to the right screen, why the lighting is like that. Yes, some audience or most audience don't understand that, but some audience study this. Okay, so we don't want to like show that our films have been critiques, or it's been critics by audience that understand films and say your film is crap, your film is nothing, your film is empty. So because you are submitting your films for festivals, so you have to see things behind it. Okay, so that's why I like it or not, I have to study all these things. You can see that's another thematic story that I'm play with these patterns on clothes. When the mother walks into the house, and I try to relate these clothes to the mother's color, and also the patterns of these clothes related to the house interiors there, and the mother's bags behind the mother's that she's carrying it. So showing the meaning of how good is this character is, the personality of these characters is. So that's how, even though it's very short while, because it's a short films, but at least I try to cover up certain meanings into my films. And one sequence that the father's getting angry because the sons create some problems there between them, I'm sure how the father's personality by hanging something's behind there. So what is that? A skeletons of head. They are headhunters, but don't worry about this one. They are not headhunters now. It's like it's a 200 years ago. But when you go to Borneos now, they are very friendly. Because they are changing to Christian, they're changing to Muslim. They are still free thinkers, but there's no more headhunters there. But there's still the proof of headhunters is still there, but by the hanging the skeletons behind that, showing how heroistic these characters is, showing what the meaning of their culture, what the meaning of their community, what the meaning of these people. Okay, they have to respect their enemies after death. That's how, not because they're angry of them, but they have to protect their family, they have to protect the community of that. That's why they're still giving a respect of their enemy. They put it on tops of their house, then that's how I try to relate my father's characters here to the enemies itself. And the kids, when he break one of the jaw, the ceramic jaw, and if you study these communities, they put their great grandfather's ancients ash into this kind of jar, and they protect it. They protect it, and they have a some kind of spiritual pray every years, every month to bring happiness, to bring good to the families, to the futures. Okay, so that's why you need to study that. Like I have to study this, respect their culture, respect their communities, and I create conflict by doing this. At the same time, I have to follow some kind of rules that I cannot simply playing around with that, because to respect people's communities there, and other things that you can see the elements of their life I put into my films here, into their interiors. I put it purposely, I structure it carefully into what kind of jar I have to put into close to the door, what kind of jar into put into close to the windows, and the patterns inside the jar also. There is some meanings on that. I cannot be simply put it there everywhere, because they're giving a meaning into that. Now we go into the framings and compositions. You can see again elements of rule of thirds. It's placing the key elements of characters, objects, or horizontals, the background things, along with the grid lines, uh, to help to guide the audience focus. Okay, so means if you have two characters, who is dominant, who is defensive, who is hero, who is bad guy, who is antagonist, who is protagonist, and which one is taking over the scenes on that time. So on the left screens, you can see when Uncle Scar tried to convince Simba, say, you are sitting here and wait for anything, wait for help, but somehow he have a trick. He have some kind of ideas to kill Simba, to kill Mufasa. So you can see how dominance Scar attacking on Simba's area, but at the same time, the trees behind Simba blocking the view or blocking the screens by cover up certain parts. So the eye contact of audience focusing on these two characters in the middle. Same as on the bottom spot when not Pumbaa, the Timon characters looking around on the, after they're singing along the Hakuna Matata songs, that so he's looking for food at that times, and how you can see how the backgrounds environments pointing to Timons that times, the backgrounds, the foregrounds, the middle grounds, and I get all these ideas and then I apply into my films. When you can see that a sample of how I block the stage when these little kids dealing with the characters, dealing with small elephants, and I put it foregrounds, I put it backgrounds, and even though it's full with jungles and forests, it's so crowded, it is the trees, bushes, but I play with some kind of a blurring focus, and I repositions the elements of backgrounds to make sure that the characters stand out. Okay, same as this, the framing and composition things you can see on the left screens. How who's this baboons character? I forgot about these baboons characters. When he see Nala and fighting over with the others, Pumbaa and Timon, he's waiting on the top of the trees, and you can see that the branch of the trees cover up the screens. This is how the elements of compositions brings more focus to the audience to see what they want to see, and they block the characters somewhere between the trees branch and also the trees bushes there. You can see that. Okay, same as my screens on the right there. I'm using the same things. All right, I put it like elements of water behind the elephants. Elements of water bring a good signs to the families. No, you don't use a fire, because of when you use a fire, when you give a bad signs of that situations of to the character itself. Anger, the anger or some kind of revenge. Okay, something like that. So for this one, when the boy need a help to meet these elephants families, I need to show, I give a hints to my audience, the water behind that, showing a kindness of these elephants. Elephants, uh, big characters, a king of a jungle, things like that, and a little boy to face these family things. It's a danger, but I give a hint of visual showing that they will be okay, something like that. Okay, and framing, more framing. You can see every single scenes, every single shot in Lion King. They planned very well to give the audience focus. You can see every of it. They put it like foregrounds, they put it backgrounds, middle grounds to bring point to the characters itself. So these three screens there is from Lion Kings, and the last one, the right bottom there, is from my films. So I put it, I give a spiritual color, turquoise color, and then I put it like foreground on the tree branch, and also the some kind of rocks behind there to cover up the characters when he fall. Then giving the audience to see what the characters see, which is something's on the right of the screen. So I give an empty screen on the right because there's something's waiting for him on the right of the screens. That's how you give a hints before the next shots came into the screens. Okay, same as the rest. All right, so use your backgrounds, use colors, use compositions to placements your characters and everything, every element. Visual block more. Okay, I take from some film festivals, short films there. You can see that between the left screens there, the king and another characters on the left there, split by something that's split by a woods, by the woods there, which is they have a problem between them. Okay, so I use these elements into my screens there. You look carefully into my screens on the right bottoms there. There is a split between the fathers and the son, which is those sumpit weapons there. Split relationship between the fathers and the son. Compare the sons and the elephants. So the question is, this boy family is which one? Is it the family elephants, or his father actually is the real family? But the thing is, visually, he have a problem with his father, and he don't have a problem with the elephants. So that's how I split, using the elements of props or backgrounds to show either these characters have a problems or this character is a friendly between them. Okay, so you have to put into your characters positions, as I said just now, power, dynamic, relationships, framing, and depth about your foregrounds, middle grounds, backgrounds, camera angle, how you choose your camera angles, low angles, up angles, down shot, loose shots, extreme close up, or use of space and props. Okay, next, you can see that body language. I'm pushing on the body language. Show the emotions, power, dynamics, relationship again, how characters move, how they stand, how the gestures, and it's all part of the mise en scène. Semiotics, the gesture and poses, posture of the characters can be a symbol. Look onto my left screens there when this little boy tried to face this the 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 head family of this elephant to get some help. He have to have a respect on this family of elephants, the adult elephants. He have to bow on it. There's no dialogues between them. It's not a Jungle Book story, so there's no dialogue. But between them with this body language, so there is a respect between them. You can see if you watch my films, there is a scenes that when this boy face toward his own father, he have a full of scared, even though that his own father. So but between him and this elephant, he have the full respect, even though he know that elephants can kill him any times, but he have a full respect, and he bow on it. And from there, the elephants know what he want. Okay, that's, you have to watch the films and you see how is it. So same as this Lion King's there, when Mufasa meets Scars and try to advise him, why you not attend the ceremony of Simba, and why you turn your back on me? I'm your king, I'm your brothers. So, and then Scar, even though they live in their families, but he always have this kind of revenge, his kind of bad attitudes, like to kill him, to take out the thrones. That's why the backgrounds, the environment, the color give a hint to this character's car to take over the story later on. Okay, so how I play with the camera shots. All right, you look at Lion Kings when Scar tried to get some help from Mufasa. Say, Mufasa, Simba is on the Pride Rocks, the Stampede. Please help him. So, like when Scar say that, it looks like Scar is on the weak area compared to Mufasa's, because he's a king, he's on the throne, so that's why he's on the top view. That's I take these ideas into my story, and when this boy tried to get help from these elephants and he managed to get it, and he tried to meet back his father. His father's on this lower position, which is he's on the weak situation compared to the boy on the dominant situation, which is I use a upshot camera to present these sequence things. Okay, so camera angles play very important to your cinematographics, to your techniques, to establish the character's dominance, the character's power, or the character's situations there. A hero standing against the sky. Okay, again, camera, backgrounds. You can see naturally it's make us perceive as an audience, we perceive they as a strong and powerful. Mufasa's Simba, when Simba take over the throne and try to fight back with Uncle Scar at the end of the story, you see how heroistic him, how anger Simba is, because he is full with anger to fight back his dad's father things and take over the thrones again from Scar. He start to know that Scar trick him and try to lie on him how Mufasa's dead, things like that. And same as when my films here on the right screens, when the boy getting to be adult, when I do some transition from a boy to adult, I use low angle shots and I'm use that kind of sky color to show his emotion, to show his situation that time. Same as this, the adult elephants that I use, not because this elephant is big, that's one thing. But the other thing is you can use high angle, you can use low angle. So I'm choosing low angle to show how powerful these elephants, the adult elephants, to show his his dominance of that area things. Okay, and then I'm showing again the same very strong cloud and bluish color on that behind elephant fin, even though we know elephant is a wild animals, but I show some kind of a spiritual energies on that. I show a kind of hundred of five characters into these elephant things. Okay, and this is how I deal with this. You can see the low angle shots that I've worked with the principle of figure ground, where it's the character's dominance, the situations. You can see on the sample of my visual at this end of my show, I put him on very strong. I blur on the foregrounds. That's a grave of his father. And behind him is his houses, his communities behind him. And the backgrounds I put low, then showing his situations as a leader of the community at the end of the story. So the conclusion is, the mise-en-scène, again, just refreshment, technical choice to use low angle shots or high angle shots or close-ups or long shots is part of this film's visual storytelling. Gestalt theory, how we tackle the audience, how the audience perceive the dominance of these characters in this frame. And the semiotics theory, how the low angle that I choose shot symbolize the power and authority in this visual language thing. This is I conclude into this kind of a one frames here. Okay, and next, the rest I just keep looking into some references when the fathers and sons showing the love, not the conflict anymore, the love. So how I refer to some kind of references from other shows, some other films, animations, or live actions. I just put it there. I just change into my characters, and then the background that my characters is more into the ground, forest, and I start to play with a very friendly green color with that to show their love and close relationship between them. Okay, and the rest, the tattoo, the costumes, the props that they use, the way they cut their hair for this kind of community, I need to study that. Either it's come from the East Asia or West Asia or somewhere in Borneo or Philippines or Kalimantan or anywhere, because if you go for Mayan characters in Brazil, in Colombia, they have almost similar in this, but they have a different type of tattoo. They have different type of how they wear the pants, the costumes, things like that. Okay, so all these elements will help you to determine your show, your projects. Because I've been critiqued by someone say, "Oh, your show look like Jungle Books. Oh, your show look like a Tarzan." I'm just smiling, and I know that this is just a standard normal audience because they don't really study. Background Tarzan happens in Congo. Jungle Books is happening somewhere in, if not mistaken, it's India. and then my films is Borneo. So you have to understand all those kind of elements, even though they are wearing almost the same costume. But in details, if you study films, theory, all this, you can determine or you can differentiate between all these kind of films. Okay, next. Where's my next? All right, it's almost like 3:30 already. You can see that I'm using that symbols later on into this necklace of these characters at the end of the story, because he believed on that. He believed that something is good, that he always bring it. And then this guy start to have a tattoo there on the shoulder and on somewhere on the arms there to give some kind of meaning who he is. Is it he's becoming a warrior? Is it becoming something else? That there is a meaning that we need to study on that. The rest of it is just all about references that you take from everywhere. You know, live actions, animated films, Moana, Tarzan's, Jungle Books, Lion King, Pocahontas, the Castaway. You know, any films, any drama, any type of mediums. I just keep watching and see and study it, and then compare it into my research, and I put it into my films. At the same time, when I attend to any film festival, I meeting a juries, I'm meeting a panels, I'm meeting other people's filmmakers, and we share things, you know, and open mind that if people can comments or critiques our films, don't get panics, don't just defending to defend your films like too much, because there's something that they see that you don't see it. So as a result, 322. So I'm open to any question if you guys have any question. But as a result, this is what I've been through all these years since 2021 until now. I've been once an award of a few film festivals, and I managed to go there and meet these people and attend to the festivals and the final ceremony. And but some of it, my trophy is there because I'm not going there because of the budget thing, everything, and they're not mentioned to me that I've won the award. So I thought that I lost, but suddenly after everything, they call me back. They email me, say, "Why you're not coming? Your trophy is there on the stage. We have to keep it for you. And if I have extra budget, I have to be like paying something that for them to ship it here." So that's how we deal with these film festivals. Sometimes they have a budget to bring us there. Sometimes we have to come up with our own budgets. But the conclusion of this, the main objective of this show is I'm sharing you the film theory that giving a lot of meaning into your films. Okay, it's not just a moving image, it's not just a beauty things, it's not just how good you animating, how good you design things, but it's all about this. For me, for now, I'm keep into this three theory: mise-en-scène, gestalt theory, and semiotics theory. Okay, so since we have very short time, I have to open to any question if you have any questions, and I can answer to any possibilities that I can have at this time. Thank you very much. Let's see if we have any questions now. Do we have any questions here? I cannot see it here. All right, hold on. I try to change it to my, okay. All right. There is a question that now come up with on my screens here, that why you decide to do the 2D animation and not 3D? It's come from Ashari Noraslan. This is because when I'm started study animations, and because of my talents, I love more sketch drawings. And when I involved in this industry, maybe my intentions or my patience into drawing sketch 2D animations, and because of that, I stick to 2D animation. I don't like 3D, not because of 3D is not good. 3D is very good, and just because of I'm very weak in technical. I don't like technical things. That's why I go for 2D. I rather like to animate frame by frames, hand drawn things. I love to do that. And somehow this is only just a tools, just a mediums. Making films is not about the 2D, 3D, 4D, AI, or whatever things. Making film is about the how you produce films for cinema, things like that. So 2D, just because of my career path, that's make me stick into 2D. Doesn't mean that I'm not involved with 3D at all. I've involved with 3D, as a consultations, as a animation directors, but I don't go for the technical as a 3D animators. Okay, that's maybe hope answer your question. There's a Mr. Vikram Singh's how to develop the concept. I am not a written type of people. Like my ideas mostly come from visual. Even I do a script, I call it as a visual script. When I produce my films, I straight away go for design, and after that, and when I do my storyboard, my script is visual script. So I deal with a lot of visual things when I come up with a concept. Sometimes when I come up with the ideas, sometimes I just sketch something because I'm a visual artist. I sketch just to playing around with that, and then after that, it's coming to my mind. Say, hey, this is good for ideas. So for some story that I can combine with my last week's sketch or 2 months over, I do some sketch, and I can see some similarity there. I can see some connection there, which I draw today. That some things that come over to me on some designs that 2 months ago. So I call back my drawings. I look at it like, oh, okay, it can combine between these characters and that characters and becoming a story. So that's how I deal with it. That's how I create my own concept on that. So it cannot be just simply sit down and all right, let's come up with a concept. Then you draw. Sometimes it doesn't happen. Okay, sometimes it doesn't happen. It happens like when you right away you want to sleep somewhere through 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock, something came out. Then it's make me wake up and draw something before I lost my mind. I just draw something before I forgot it. By tomorrow, I draw something, sketch there. Then I continue my sleep. Then tomorrow, of course, my mind will be different. But when I see that sketch, oh, okay, I got some things last night. Then I look for into my, my extra time. Then I develop those. So that's what I feel is a concept. But generally, I'm not a good concept artist. I'm not a good pre-production concept art. I'm more into the production way, but when I deal with my own projects, actually, I call myself as a self-learn things. So means maybe there is some process that I'm not following the actual rules on some stage, but I have to make sure that along the way I have to study things. I have to correct some part that I miss. Look into the pre-production, then I have to cover up back into the production part. That's how. Maybe I hope I answer your question. Okay. Do we have any more questions? All right. I don't know how to pronounce your name. Strixo, maybe. How long did it take you to complete this animation from zero to hero? You know what? When you mentioned zero to hero, I have a one show called Zero Hero. Okay. And that's happened somewhere back in somewhere 2012. I call it Zero Hero. So it's come back to me again now. All right. How long it take to complete this animation from Zero Hero? All right. When you say animations means production, um, I produce it between somewhere November 2021, November 2020 until December, almost like 1 year, until October 2021, So it's 8 month, somewhere 8 month durations to complete 8 minutes type of animations using not only me myself, but me with my intern students and my junior animators because I cannot afford to pay a senior animator. So I take much time on the COVID area that time and dealing with junior animators and intern student. Then you can judge my quality of films. Then you can look into the YouTubes later on. You judge by yourself. It looks good for you. It looks good. If not good, you can come to me and yes, please critique. I love to people critique my films and for me to understand, for me to learn from it. So to answer your question, it's animations only production is somewhere around 7 months, and the pre-production actually I don't have like exact time because of I'm start alone slowly by myself, uh, a few months off and on, and then when the right times come, I start to lock the exact durations to complete the production. It's between that, all right? So I will say 8 months to complete 8 minutes. Doesn't mean one minute, 1 month. Doesn't mean that. Okay, because this one, I have a time, I have a plan to submit a film festival along the way. So that's why I'm set my own timeline. Okay, some people can go even lesser than that. Some people can go even more than that. Right? There's some animation films, Thief and Cobbler, they use 20 years to complete that. You look at it, look at on YouTube's Thief and Cobbler. They use 20 years to complete that films. Okay, it's directed by Sir Richard William. Okay, that's. I hope that answered your question. Did you face any challenge when making a films? How did you overcome that? Yes, my animators have different attitudes, different skill set, different style. All right. Then when you deal with them and they are very junior, they are very new. When I give them this character and I will give another animators this character, same character, but three different animators, they come up with me with their own face. So they don't follow my characters, they follow their own face. So that's my challenging part. And also when I did these films, that time is a COVID, so we did mostly at our home, and we have to deal with online and show them. We have to go for like this online, and it's a stress on my side, because of I'm dealing with these junior people and they need a guide. So how I overcome this, bring my team as a family. So, and then be professional when I critique their work, and then they critique my work. Even though I'm the leader, I cannot put my ego on top. I have to listen to them. If they have any ideas, speak. Same to me, all right? Because they are young, I'm old. So when I critique their work, they thought that they already draw a lot of things, and they thought like, what's wrong with my drawings? There's nothing wrong. All my friends say it's okay. So that's how I overcome the problems, like in terms of like try to commence their problems or their animations thing in different way, because they have a different attitudes and characters. So at the same time, when you make films, you have to understand your strength. Okay, when I know my strength is 2D animations, I know my strength is this kind of style, I know my strength of personalities of characters and my skill. So I will look into my strength to produce something that close into my strength. And still challenging is still there, conflict is still there, but at least not as much as you do for something that you don't understand things. Okay, so be careful when you choose an ideas, be careful when you choose a method of when you produce a films, when you produce your animation production. Okay, I hope this answer your question. Thank you. We have any more? 3:34. We have a few minutes more. Shafiq, what animations movie that mostly motivates and inspire you? Okay, I already answered my question just now. Lion King is my favorites. Lion King is my favorites. Iron Giant from Warner Bros. Iron Giants. Watch it. Watch Iron Giant. It's underrated films, but it's very, very good. Iron Giants. Mr. Incredible, even though it's a 3D, because the director is Brad Bird. Brad Bird start directing and producing Simpsons, storyboarding for Simpsons family story. How Brad Bird can direct Mr. Incredible, and now how Brad Bird can direct Mission Impossible, Tom Cruise. How from that kind of directors that directing or supervising a Simpsons family 2D animation series, becoming a director for these kind of films. So that's why I'm when I learned this kind of people like directors, storyboard artists, anyone's, I have to study their backgrounds. So these people or these films, I need to study when these people's directing or producing like films. Then I see the list of the films that they involve. One of it is also Richard William, animators who produced uh, the animated survival kids. Glenn Keane, Mr. Glenn Keane, he's still alive. He's producing, he's directing Tarzan, he's designed Tarzan and Pocahontas, Rapunzel. So, and then Mr. Glenn Keane is someone who animating things, like he understand figure, he understand animation. So I study from him from there, not the entire films, but at least I study who is Glenn Keane. So sometimes I inspire me is films, sometimes inspire me is the person itself. So Hayao Miyazaki is a good type of person, but he's very detailed. Like I don't really anime fan, but because of for me it's very high technology, very high patient. I'm not that kind of level yet, so I don't have time to study his film. But I love Princess Mononoke. I love Totoro and Spirited Away, but not every films that I study. Okay, so this is a few list of films that I like to keep watching it and study it. Thank you. Any more? We done? Or we have it more? But I advise or suggest to you guys, watch Lion King 1994. Seriously, watch that. Not because of I love it, but there is the music from Elton John, the environments, the emotions, how they deal with animals becoming that characters compared to the Lion King, the latest one. This look like you're watching is National Geography. Okay. SMW beginners artist. Okay, hello. What make you create this story and its meaning? What made I create this story? You talking about my films, the pillar of strength. What make me create this? First thing first, I love challenging. People say you are not from Borneo, you are not from Iban people, Dayak people, you are Javanese people, Muslim, Malay. Why you do that? Um, for me, I always look for something unique, something new, something refreshed, something conclusions unique. And I know people out there at that and attending a film festival, they look for cultural elements, very cultural elements. So that's why I don't go for very entertainment type of animation like fightings, explosion things. I go for emotions things. I go for culture. So at this time, when you say how why I made this because of for me the world have not been shared fully uniqueness of this Borneo community people. They are very unique. When you know more about them, there is more things you can discover. There are more things you can discover. That's why my second films later, maybe I will keep doing it. Whatever is there, because I see more things when I study them. I see more things, hidden things, and very unique happens there by facts or by history and by fantasy elements. You can combine those things and make your films becoming unique things, and that how people's waiting for. We are getting boring to see commercial films, thing like that, right? So, and it's of course it's give meaning to me because of when my films won some award. So I asked the juries why. So they say it's about your culture, and sometimes they say it's about your quality for your animation. Sometimes it's about the the emotion of the character that you deliver very very well from the father to the son, or from the son to the father, or from humans to the animal, or from the living things to the environments. So they answer it very clear things. So that's how I get my answer why I create this movie. All right. I hope this answer your question. Thank you. Last question. Red Blue Monster Studio. Oh, this time is in Malay. Waalaikumsalam, Mr. Okay, Mr. Red Blue Monster Studio. Bagaimana kita nak menjadikan sesuatu filem animasi itu boleh memberi dan membuka peluang pekerjaan, dan apa kriteria? Okay, this is the last one because the question is quite so long. How we want to make the films, animation films, that can bring opportunities, opens a career as animators, background artists, or whoever is, and what kind of criteria of animations or criteria of animators that have to be in the production of 2D and 3D animation. Okay, first question is how. Um, of course, the consistency after I produce my films. What's next? What's next when I produce my film? Should I go to a long forms of animated series, or I go for another films? Okay, that's the thing. So if I go for long forms, means I go for animated series. They will have 13 episodes. They will have 26 episodes. They will have more than that. So that's create more career path or work opportunities to animators, to storyboard artists, to background artists, to whoever is to join this kind of long form productions. That's one thing. But if my films cannot do that. I need to sit down back and ask myself why. Okay, why I cannot proceed to for the next stage because of maybe a budget. I need more budgets to create these films to be continuous to the next features and open a career path for animators, for any artist. That's one thing. So budgets play a lot of importance elements. The second question just now, I lost the second question. What kind of elements of animators must be in production? Okay, if you produce a 2D animation, as I said, you should the leader, the head, should understand the production process. Like, okay, in terms of 2D animation, 2D animation is traditional way or digital way. So if you do for traditional way, for sure you have to animate and do some sketch key animations, and then in betweens, and then clean up, and then ink and paints, and then and so on and so on. But if you deal by 2D digital, which is now the trendy of 2D digital, is like they're using rigs, they're using cutout, they're using fully software. So they don't, some of them, most of them don't have this kind of process anymore. So as a production studio, we decide what kind of approach we have to go, or what kind of clients we approach them, and then how we want to convince them what kind of style we are dealing with. If 3D, what kind of software you're using? Is it like you're using free software like Blender, and or using Maya, or using some other software? That's also give kind of uh, effects to your production style. So like Disney, they don't care what kind of Disney or Pixar, they don't care what kind of software you're using it. So they have their own software, they develop their own software. What they care is, if you're applying for animators, you need to make sure that you are able to draw very well, especially human anatomy, character design, right? And also you have to understand 12 principles of animations very well, because you are applying for animation, for animators. So as Pixar, they don't care that you are using Maya, they don't care you're using 3D Studio Max or other thing, because they are developing their own software. What they care is your understanding technically on principle itself when you apply animators. All right, same as when you apply as technical or modeling artist or texture artist or even environment artist. So that's how, as a student or as a young artist, when you apply for internships, when you apply for any career path, you have to ask yourself, what do you want to be? Because in animations, sometimes when you cannot draw, doesn't mean that your career is gone. No, you can survive in the animation industry, because there is a script writer there is a production coordinator there is animator that no need to draw, because you are dealing with 3D things for sure, maybe, right? And then for 2D, sometimes you're doing cutout, doesn't mean that you need to draw everything. You cut out, you draw one drawings, you cut everything elements, then you can animate by cutout. It's for kids, it's for education things. So you study your audience, you study your network, you study your broadcast, Cartoon Networks, Disney, Nickelodeons, and other things. You study them before you approach them to sell your product. So I hope this can answer little of your questions all this time, because we have a short of time now. It's already now 3:45. Unfortunately, we have to close this webinar things. If you want to know more, feel free to come to APU, Asia Pacific University. I'm always here. And if some of you parents, teachers, students, come visit us here. Look at how our technologies, how our lecturers, our skill can deliver our knowledge to you. All right. So hope we can meet again for the next second session. I don't know when, but let's plan on it. Thank you. Bye-bye.